Hello, hello, hello to you, my Facebook people. How are you? So, you have not been hearing Basie's voice that much. It's because Basie is working, right? So, now we were affected by the passage of Hurricane Beryl, and now it's the rebuilding time. So, I think he's on somebody's roof somewhere. So, I'll just continue my small bit of videoing to show everyone the post effects of Hurricane Beryl and how things are going. I do not have all the information at this time, but I'll endeavor to just do a brief drive through of my area. Right, so this is where we were during the passage of Hurricane Beryl. That's my brother Franklin quarters. So basically, he was building the basement before he built the top flooring. Thank God for that. We stayed there because the top portion of it is concrete. We were not that affected that much. Basically, some damages to inside after a few office windows popped. And that's the thing about some of the houses. You're probably driving around and see and probably think the house seemed to be okay, but you need to look at the windows. I remember someone did a video saying that all of the houses in Caracas seem to be good. That's totally far from the truth. If you look at some of the windows, you will see the pop, and most people, many of them sustain the water injuries, right? So that's my brother's place, and basically some damage to the inside following the smashing of a few of his windows. That was cousin Duggan and cousin Rose's house to the front there. So I was told that house was built in 1955, so it would withstood Hurricane Janet. As a matter of fact, most of the people from Belair and some surrounding areas, I was told that's where they sheltered the Hurricane Janet. It was a concrete house, but Beryl just threw it down. Right behind there, that's my sister's house. Of course, that house sustained some damages as well. That was. So I would have to speak in past tense now. That was Serena's house. And on this side, that's the Jackson's house. I'll drive down a bit and see if I can show you more of that house. Alright, so this was Mr. and Mrs. Jackson, Florence and Clive, and I know the children when they visit home now, when they come home, Cecilia and others, this is where they reside. So their house totally fell apart. I don't know what happened with Beryl in this area, but she came for everything around here. Of course, we're directly, as you know, the meaning of Belair is fresh air, and we're exposed to the Atlantic side. So I remember while we were across by Franklin's house, then the trees started falling. The first thing that happened on that day was the falling of one of the trees up here, right? So I remember us saying, oh God, a tree fall, and then this wall tamarind tree came down, and then we started hearing the plum trees around the house, and that was the first part of the hurricane before the eye. And then after that, oh my God, it was chaos. So this vehicle was parked facing upwards. Now the hurricane turned that Franklin old vehicle, that was our house. So we're trying to see if we can start the rebuilding. We know that it will take a while to get a proper house, but I mean, place to rest head. That is what we are doing. I know a lot of people are saying, oh Rena, you're speaking about everybody else, but you're not speaking about yourself. Yes, our house totally collapsed, and we are just trying to bar around and put a roof, as people would say, for shelter. At this time as well, I would like to take the opportunity to thank Mr. and Mrs. Louisa, not Louisa, but Mr. and Mrs. Lixon. It's always the man, not the woman, right? So Miss Louisa and Mr. Lixon, thank you for allowing us to use your house. God bless your heart. We are forever grateful. That's our resting place now. So, well, dental is building up there, but that's where my vehicles were. So the Wrangler is still there. The silver one sustained some injuries with the front of it, and the glass. It was broken off. That's my uncle's house, Uncle Bobbert. So he lost his roof and he got a lot of water damage as well. The original video I missed out my brother Patrick's house. I mean, it's terrible of me, but his house was so flattened, I didn't even remember there was a structure there. So yes, Patrick's house was devastated. Right, so this is my small area in Belair, and it was, I'm just remembering, about 6 weeks ago during the passage of Hurricane Beryl. Just around this time, it was when we came out. We were at that time somewhat experiencing some force winds. It was not that strong, so we were able to come out and look around to see what was happening when we came out. Oh my God. I remember the first part of it. It was not bad. When we came out, Serena's house was standing. Our house, when we looked across, it was okay. Uncle Bubba's one as well. It was just the coconut trees that were damaged. The plum trees, some of the wicked trees, they fell, and we lost power, because I remember the lines touching with the high winds, and then we lost power. And then after that, well, after the iron, we came out. Oh my God, it was like, I can't believe I was at the same place. Total devastation. But we know for a fact that we would rebuild, and we would rebuild stronger. So I was living in Grenada during the passage of Hurricane Ivan, and my sister and I, we were living down there then. And after the passage of Ivan, we rebuilt. My two brothers came down, Franklin and Curtis, and they assisted us in the rebuilding process. And it's what's going to happen in Carrico. It would not happen overnight, but bit by bit. I know it's the first time this generation is experiencing a hurricane, but I experienced it in Grenada. I lived in Grenada after Ivan. Almost 6 months we were out of power. I remember we had to go to the standpipe down the road for water. We made it through, and remember during those times some of the prisoners, they got away during the hurricane, so it was a bit scary, but thank God we made it. Right, so after Burial, and I came down and I looked at my village, and I saw many of the roofs went, and there were houses what I was looking for, like some of the wooden houses which were not there. It was like total, it was, I can't even explain what I saw, but it was very catastrophic. I remember this is the Ticker's house, of course. The last part of the roof. Mr. and Mrs. Jackson, Mr. Donald Jackson, affectionately known as Don. May your soul rest in peace. Alright, so continue. Mrs. Jackson lost parts of her roof as well. So of course everyone, well, most people are covered now with tarpaulin, but bit by bit we would get back on our feet. It doesn't happen overnight. It takes time. There are some people who were able to put back the roof, who can afford it, and they were able to put back the roof, and some, again, I guess they're waiting assistance from the government, assistance from who will give to them, but we're gonna make it. I remember seeing that tree, boy. That's a very big tree, the Fiji tree, and when I saw what the hurricane did to it, uprooted that tree, I was amazed. I'm like, wow, a tree that big, and it was uprooted by Hurricane Beryl. Imagine that. Alright, so I remember Cousin Eileen, this is a house, and she lost part of her roof as well. And Mama, well, with Francis, we call her Mama. She lost part of her roof, but it's now fixed. These houses, these are the concrete houses, 2 concrete houses. They're okay, but of course they sustain some window damages as well. Alright, and this is Johnny's house. Johnny Of course, he had some damages as well to the roof. Alright, Johnny sustained. So approaching now would be the Logan. So Michael was in this house and Michael lost his roof as well. So I guess everything inside there was damaged because he lost the roof. Mr. Guadalupe, they lost the roof as well. I know that they're not on the island, so they haven't done much cleaning up as yet. Well, not much, haven't done anything as yet because they're out of the island. I think they came in after the hurricane. When I got down the road, man, well, we couldn't drive. I remember Shem house was there, his mother house as well, and everything was totally destroyed. Just that wall remained. And Shem said to us that it was in his fridge that he and his brother stayed during the passage of the hurricane. Well, the first part of it, after losing the roof, they were in the fridge, and then when the eye passed, they ran out. And we keep saying that hurricane come in the night. It was, oh my God, you would not have wanted to hear, because we're believing that half of Carrico, God forbid, but they would have had many deaths. So this is all right. So this is what was Dolman's house. I forget his wife's name, but that was mommy friend. But they lost the roof, and I remember seeing this galvanized in the tree there, and I'm like, how did that galvanized get there? And then it had a couple galvanized in the trees around there as well. Yeah. And of course we couldn't pass on this road. I mean, we couldn't drive on this road. Everything, the roof, everything was in the road. So this is the NADMA building, and this is where everyone came after the hurricane for assistance. And it was a bit scary. Mr. Jackson, I remember Mrs. Alcina bringing him down there because after losing the roof and getting the water damage, being in the water, you know how cold that can be. And this is the Kwaminas, Kojos. They lost their roof as well. They lost their roof as well. Logan, Mr. Sonny Logan, may your soul rest in peace. Well, he lost his roof as well. And coming, well, it was Congo Man shop that was here, and yeah, that is totally gone. Surprisingly though, the bus shed stayed up. I mean, like many other concrete buildings, the water caused a lot of damages, but yeah. So I remember one of the containers stayed in the road, and well, not stayed in the road. The container, I'll show you where it came from, and it landed lower down the road there. And they removed it after a couple weeks, I think, and brought it up here. But it did not remain in the road. Thank God to Maxwell and Denzel and Russell and all of them were assisted in moving the container, pushing it a bit to the side of the road, and then following that they brought it up here for the sake of the traffic. Alright, so in there's the Belair Park Reserve, and 90% of the trees, they were broken, or even 95% of the trees were broken. Well, some of them lost their roof, and containers in there, they were flipped. I mean, a lot of damages. Too many to talk about right now. This was what was in NADMA building, so it seemed as though the roof stayed on. I don't think they lost the roof here, so that stayed on. And then the hospital as well, which is on this road. The hospital lost its roof. Alright. So if you've seen the light pole over there, so that's where the container came from. So the container was resting there before Beryl, and I'm not sure how it went over that hill to get over to the other side. It didn't roll, because had it rolled, the trees, you must have seen a part, or even you would have broken down this house, the Logan's house, Sunny house. So that didn't happen. So we are suspecting that the container flew from here to on the other side. Alright, so this was Nurse James' house. Mr. Bristol Dunstan, that was the house, and lost this roof as well. So that's the thing about it. If the houses didn't lose their roof, then they were demolished or the windows were popped. Right, and this was Emma's house and her shop, so part of the building went as well. Just part is remaining, and this house as well. Right, so as I was saying, some of the houses over here as well. When we got across here, it was like, wow. This house, it's gone as well. This was Clipper. He lost his roof. The only one I think was standing out. Remember I was saying the only house in Belair that was standing, I mean, besides up on the hill, Chris and others, and the two concrete houses, it was Rhonda. Rhonda, you're a praying woman. Keep praying. Rhonda Coy, right? So Johnny and Clipper and Carol, those are the house upcoming, and they lost the roof as well. Well, not the entire roof, I don't think it's the entire, but part of it. So I mean, I'm just recapping on what took place about 6 weeks ago around this time when we came out just after 2. We started getting storm force winds since during the wee hours of the morning when I came out. Remember, I went to bed like after 3 and I was hearing the wind, and when I wake up, Lisa woke me up just after 6 and she was like, Rina, get up, come and see the sea. And when we went around the road and looked at the sea, oh my God. Yeah, when we looked at the sea, everything was just white, and I was like, oh my God, Peachy Martinique, Union Island, they were getting it, boy. And then just around after 9 thereabouts, then it started getting stronger and stronger. Then we started experiencing the hurricane force wind. Mochili did a video with us, so Stoveman house stood up, and this is Mochili's parents' house. Yeah, Mochili said, I saw the wind and it was just going in circles. It was going around. Oh, he said they started to do some work here as well. Yeah. Yeah, Mochili said the wind was going wrong and wrong and wrong. So we are approaching the low windmill in Belair. So there are 2 windmills. There's the upper windmill and the lower windmill. So that's the lower windmill in Belair. And there was a signboard there, but the signboard is gone. Alright. Yes. So we are in the village of Belair and we are heading into Tophil. And there are 10 more houses besides, well, Pinky and those houses that are in Montinel. Look at this tree, it was uprooted, and that was a problem. Many of the trees were uprooted. So that's Pinky, and that's Casey, and lower down cousin Fred and cousin Rhoda and the Staffords in Montinel, right? So we are heading into Tophil, and when we came across here, when I came across here, I remember day number 2 I came across because Dr. Sean Charles told me when he came up, when he went that side to make a phone call, he was not to make a phone call, he went that side to do assessment, and while he was across there in Ravin area, not Ravin, I can't remember how that road is named, but going into the way Joe and Mary staying to the back there, he was able to get some connection and able to make some calls because his phone went off and he realized he was getting connected from Grenada. But while we were coming across here, I mean, everything was totally devastated. It was bad. I wasn't able to see any greenery. Thank God now we are seeing a bit of greenery. Thank God for that. God. It's coming back. We was able to see, well, we weren't able to see much iguanas, but those that we saw, they seemed a bit shaken still. Right, yeah, in the road. I remember, I think that was the second day, yeah. Russell, I believe it was working in the road. I know that Maxwell came the same day of the hurricane because BC was with him. They came across here the same day of the hurricane to clear the road. But there was some stuff that they weren't able to move the same day, so they were able to do it after, right? So people, we are hopeful to those of these who are viewing, those of you who are viewing this, those of you in the diaspora and everywhere else. I want to say a special thank you very much for what you have given so far. Trinidad, Barbados, all the Caribbean islands. We know that some of the islands, Barbados, got some effects of the hurricane as well, and they're able to assist. So those who are assisting in restoring power, like Lucy Lake and TNT Tech, some of the workers from Grand Lake who came up to Grenada, and everyone else. As I say, I do not have all of the information, but basically what I know of, that's what I'm sharing with you. As the information becomes handy, I'll share. So I know that I've been seeing some flyers from the government as well. So tax are exempted on items coming into the island, VAT as well. So when you shop locally, I believe I don't know if I have it correct, but if you shop locally, then you would not pay VAT and on certain items. And if you're buying in Grenada, there are some places, because this morning I was trying to shop as well to buy some of items that I lost as well, and they're saying that they did not get that information. So what I was told is that collect a form. We have to collect a form from the secretariat where Mr. Baker is at the moment. That's right. Sorry about that. So you have to collect that form from what was the multipurpose center. Well, I guess it has been used by the government now. So you collect a form from there. So you should collect a form from there. Fill it up, and they'll guide you how you can get back your money. As well, I just want to thank Guyanese, yes, who came in to assist in the rebuilding. I know that they worked several of the government buildings. I know that they're doing the admin building now. Thank you for all that you have been doing and that have done. Samaritan Purse, oh my God, I cannot stop thanking you for everything that you have done for us. And I always seem to forget the people who provide the meal a day, the wall kitchen something. We want to say thank you to you as well. If I missed out anyone, my apologies, but we just want to thank every one of you for what you have done. This is just Explore CARICOM Petit Martinique. We are not an official, I must say that we're not an official government agency or organization. We're just, this is our way of giving back to our island by showcasing and promoting our small CARICOM and Petit Martinique and what's happening here. As the information becomes handy, we would share. We can only share what we are made aware of, right? So we are almost in Tophil. Mr. Lixon, I think that's your cousin parents' place, your uncle, your auntie, someone. That's the house which lost the roof. And so let me see if I can remember the houses. So I believe in the bottom there was Butchern and them. So I remember when I got here the day after, while I was going across the Tophil, I was like, oh my God. I was saying to myself, I hope Miss Louisa didn't lose her house. So that's a Primus. I was in the bottom there, lost the roof, and I was like, I hope she didn't lose a roof. And I was praying to God, and thank God saved her. I mean, saved Mr. and Mrs. Primus. I keep saying Miss Louisa because of the connection, but they got some damages with some of the windows and the roof as well. So that's where, in the basement there, that's where we are for now. And I publicly want to say a big thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Primus, for everything that you have done for us in the past and you continue to do. May God bless you all. I was into her in 2018. She came into my life, and that's the same year my mom died, so it's same as the mom sent her. She came for a reason, right? And this is Lyndon here. He sustained some water damage, and oh God, I always forget this gentleman's name. Anyway, he lost this roof. He's in England, and he might be viewing this. Right, cousin Lana lost the entire roof, but guess what? The roof was rebuilt, right? So bit by bit, people are rebuilding, and I'm really happy to see that. I remember when it was me after Ivan, it took us months and we were living in a house without part of the roof, and we didn't have any door, and we were so scared that the prisoners were going to come in. When some of us slept, some remained awake and stuff like that for almost over 6 months. I remember that year we didn't even have Christmas. Yeah, so I mean, many of you that is experiencing a hurricane for the first time, you may may seem as though you'll lose hope, but please don't lose hope. The help will come and things will happen. Alright, so thank you very much for viewing this video as I recapped some of the things that transpired following the passage of Hurricane Beryl about 6 weeks ago, around this time of the day. We were just coming out. As I said, we didn't wait for the hurricane to die out. Well, we were experiencing some of the storm force winds and some of the storm force winds and rain, and we came out. We walked around because we weren't able to drive. We came from a long way. I mean, in my opinion, the worst part of it's already gone. The first month, it was terrible. It was hard. I can tell you that it was hard, but it's getting a bit easier. I'm able to come out because at that time, most of the water in the cisterns were all polluted, so we weren't able to get water, foodstuff, and all those things. And thank God we are able to get bit by bit now. Thank you to everyone who came in at the same time to assist. And this man that did the hurricane chaser, the storm chaser, he captured the wind and the hurricane as it happened. So we must say thanks to him as well. Because of him, many people knew, well, we were devastated when many of us weren't able to get power or internet. I remember when Bessie and I went to do the live, that was the Wednesday after. That's when we were able to do the live, and many people are saying we saw. So I just want to say thanks to that hurricane chaser gentleman as well, and I know he came back after. So I want to say thank you to everyone who assisted in one way or the other, and we would be rebuilt stronger and better. To those of you in Carriacou that is thought of giving up on hopes, don't give up. I went through it, and if I went through it, then you can go through it as well. Don't give up on hopes. Don't you? And take it from me, right? So that's it until we do another video again. This is where I say goodbye. Bye bye.